Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining me here on IPO Market Watch. My name is Mike in case you are new, and if you are new, please consider hitting the subscribe button as that really would help me. I am trying to reach 100,000 subscribers by the end of this year. So April 2nd, 2025 came around. We might as well mark it somewhere on the wall to remember it, and the market didn't like it. The market crashed. So the thumbnail of my YouTube video says crash proof, probably a reason why you clicked on this video, right? It's not clickbait. There's actually really good things I'm going to show you, things that you might not have thought about, you might not have heard of, but these are things that go up as the markets go down. You know, they're doing very well, and if you think that the market will continue to go down, you might want to know about these things. So history repeats itself, they say, and if you study history, you're more likely to do better in life, they also say. If we paid attention to 1988 on what Donald Trump was saying back then, maybe we could have been more prepared about 2025 as far as our portfolio is concerned.
We let Japan come in and dump everything right into our markets and everything. It's not free trade.
I want free trade, but I want it to be like, at least we break even, right? We do something.
Kuwait, they live like kings. The poorest person in Kuwait, they live like kings. And yet they're not paying. We make it possible for them to sell their oil. Why aren't they paying us 25% of what they're making? It's a joke.
So as you can see, everyone, this is not something new. And you know what? To President Donald Trump's credit, I do give him credit for this. You know, for decades, he stuck to what he believed. You know, he'd never changed his mind. He's been saying this from 1988 minimum. Are times different from back then, or even from the 70s or the 60s or the 1920s? They're very different right now. So you can't apply the same exact formula all the time and expect it to work even 50 years later and so on. Look, there's no denying that the current US fiscal situation is a huge problem. That is something that we must all accept as a fact. The US national debt is $36 trillion. In 2025, they are projected that the spending will be $6 trillion, the projected revenue at $4 trillion, which means that the US debt will go up to $38 trillion, right? They're going to lose money, $2 trillion, right? And if this continues and continues and continues, there's going to be a point not very far from now, maybe within the next decade at most, where the country just goes bankrupt. So Donald Trump's proposed economic plan solution, level 1, to cut expenses. So he wants to cut expenses by $1 trillion. He did that with Doge. Had to bring someone else to do it. You know, it wouldn't look right if, you know, President Trump was doing this. So he brings Elon Musk, and Elon Musk, you know, loves firing people. So he took care of that, fired a bunch of people, and there goes $1 trillion. The other thing was to eliminate Social Security payments being made to people who were 150 years after their death or whatever. There was a lot of fraud going on with that, so that's fixed. Increased revenue is the level 2 of what the Trump administration is trying to do. So they want to increase and raise revenue through raising tariff revenue, 54% tariff on Chinese goods. That means that when I order, let's say, 100 boxes of shoes to come to, you know, to the US for my business so I can put it in the stores and sell, when those 100 boxes come to the ports of the US, right away I have to pay that 54% extra on that tariff fee. That 54% that's something that I as a business will pay. And once I pay that, now I can get my products, put them in the stores. But guess what? I'm going to pass that 54% on to the consumer, because if I swallow that 54%, I'm probably going to go out of business. Now, if I pass that over to the consumer, guess who paid the 54% tariff that was implemented on China? The US citizen. Deregulation, guys, watch out for that. I do want to mention something about deregulation. The deregulation activity, the laws and the decisions around deregulation are set probably to come in the second half of this year and going forward. This is going to help the markets, so keep that in mind. The other thing that President Donald Trump has promised, but so far we don't know anything about it yet, we don't know in details or what's going to happen, is it going to get implemented, is tax cuts, right, for the US citizens. So if in the second half of this year and going forward after that, we get the deregulation actually being implemented in steps, and tax cuts, and we know exactly what's going on, and if it does really, you know, it is beneficial for the US citizen, I think that's going to be enough to push the markets on a bull run and recover the losses that the market has made so far. Now, one thing I don't agree with in a way, I don't like the $5 million President Donald Trump gold card. And if you buy it, you're US citizens for life and all that. It's like you're telling me that if you're rich and you got money, you can get away with anything. CEO of Nikola, the former CEO of Nikola, convicted felon, got pardoned. I don't even know why. It was proven that he was, at fault. It was proven that he was guilty, but he got pardoned. And now, like, if you have $5 million, you automatically just bought yourself a U.S. citizenship, which is like, I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about that.
$5 million. For $5 million, this could be yours. That was the first of the cards. You know what that card is?
Gold card.
It's the gold card. The Trump card, gold card.
Who's the first buyer?
Me.
Who's the second?
I don't know, but I'm the first buyer. It'll be out in about less than 2 weeks, probably. Pretty exciting, right?
Okay, so let's get back to the tariffs. Trump announces higher reciprocal tariff rates for the worst offenders. And here's the list of the worst offenders, right? And I'm not going to go over the list. I'm pretty sure you've been watching this the past few days. And you know, exactly the moment that he announced all of that, the stock market was decimated. In the first session following Liberation Day, look at this red. This is the first session. The red is the first session following Liberation Day. The amount that the NASDAQ went down was far more than all of year to date. Same thing for the Dow, same thing for the S&P 500. And that's going to bring something very dangerous, something very, very dangerous that I would hope that it will last for a very short-term period of time, hopefully no more than a year, and that is contraction in the US economy. According to a very powerful chart that that Fidelity has on their site, if you're a member of Fidelity and you're into their Fidelity research, here it is. According to this from Fidelity, the US is headed for contraction. China's, guys, is headed for recovery. Well, it's trying to head for recovery because you see the other half here. This is the end of the contraction. And then here's the other part. We all know that China is emerging their economy, or up until April 2nd, they were trying, and they had this money they were giving away to businesses, and China was headed for recovery. It might still be headed for recovery. So this is a country that left contraction and headed for recovery. But April 2nd and the 54% tariff that President Donald Trump has imposed, I think will make it very hard for China to head for recovery. Wayfair yesterday was on the news on Yahoo Finance, and the CFO of the company said we source from 20,000 suppliers across the globe. 20,000 suppliers across the globe, right? Wayfair is in trouble. Wayfair is in massive trouble. Unless the US customers are willing to accept and pay 20, 30, 40, 50% more for the Wayfair products, then fine. Then Wayfair is fine. But if the US consumer is not willing to pay that, Wayfair is in massive trouble. Wayfair, guys, would go out of business, in my opinion. If the tariffs remain long enough, this company is going out of business. This is a company that at one point their stock was very promising, and now it's it's destroyed. It's crashing really hard. Today, guys, the Trump administration has been sued over Chinese import fees. So the New Civil Liberties Alliance, a conservative legal group, on Thursday filed a lawsuit seeking to block Donald Trump's tariffs on Chinese imports. Well, good luck with that, because I don't think it's going to work out. I really don't think so. What a waste of a lawsuit, I think, in my opinion. But should you be afraid? You shouldn't. If you invested properly, even year to date, if you invested properly, you would have beaten the markets. You would have beaten the markets, right? Let me show you what I mean. So I started this year in January, right? Year to date in January of 2025, I started a portfolio from scratch, zero money, zero investments. I started a brand new portfolio to show my Discord members what I would do to navigate 2025, since it's going to be a little, messed up. And I added so far $4,154 across 20 holdings. The total gain loss this year, so the total, what it's doing so far year to date, is that it's down only 2.78%. We're beating the market, by the way. My value portfolio portfolio is beating the market. The Dow Jones year to date is down negative 5.17%. The NASDAQ is down 12.78%, all right? And the S&P 500 down negative 9.22%. This value portfolio, guys, is showing very good signs. First, it's beating the market. Two, it is showing and proving to me that it will be green before this year ends. And there'll be more holdings that I will add as the year goes by. And that my value portfolio is going to be the first one to recover before the markets recover. That's insane. One of those proper investments for this year, I'll share one with you, is this VCIT, guys. Ticker symbol VCIT. This is the Vanguard Intermediate Term Corporate Bond ETF. It's pretty much crash proof in my opinion. Now, obviously, if you wanted to do much better and you wanted to take it into like a gamble of betting, okay, well, if the markets are going to go down, then then this is going to go up. You would have gone with this, which I shared this with my Discord, which is the Dimension Daily S&P 500 3X shares. So when I shared it, it was 720, but right now, as I speak, and I'm looking at it right now as I speak, guys, it is at $9. So that's gone up. And then this one, ticker symbol TZA, I told them this is going to go further up and all that stuff. It was 1719 when I told them in the Discord. Right now, as I'm recording the video, and it is April 4th, 2025, it is at $22 right now, guys, and it was 17 when I mentioned it, right? And these two, as the markets get worse, they're gonna go up. So that's something else to consider. Of course, these two are they're like bets. They're betting against the market. So if the market, they basically do well only if the markets keep going down, right? Once the markets return and recover, they're going to do really bad. So over time, they are certain to do bad because the U.S. market always outperforms over a period of a long term. Whereas the Vanguard Intermediate Term Corporate Bond ETF is a much safer one, slower growth, but still green, right? So you can see right off the bat, there are ways to do well this year, no matter what the market is doing. You would have found out about VCIT, for example, if you were in my Discord and used our channel called Dark Pool. So there was the dark pool trade for VCIT, for example. Even today, on April 3rd, 2025, somebody bought over 3 million shares of VCIT at $82.03, and they spent $252 million. $252 million bucks, guys. And he bought it at $82.03, and it is at $82.14 today in pre-market. It will continue to go higher. The final thing I want to cover in this video is Occidental Petroleum. Occidental Petroleum is something that I've been very bullish since last year. I've made a lot of YouTube videos, and I do believe that Occidental Petroleum can hit $60, $65. And you know what? The last time I talked about Occidental Petroleum and did a YouTube video was when it was 48 bucks, and Occidental Petroleum right now is at $43.30. So you would say, Mike, you suck. It was 48 when you talked about it, and you said it was you were bullish in it, and now it's at 43. No, not really. We are going through a market. It's not even a correction anymore. This isn't a correction. For me, it's a market. We're in a recession. All right, so that's just my opinion. You might not agree with it. I think we are already in a recession, so it's pretty hard for stocks to do well. But Occidental Petroleum had a surprise thrown at us. We had a surprise thrown at us yesterday that we couldn't have foreseen.
OPEC decision was really kind of the second blow to oil prices yesterday because that OPEC increase was much higher than expected. We expected OPEC to kind of roll over the increase that we're seeing here in April, but they went really hard on it.
Going forward, what is there to expect as far as the markets, right? What we can expect, everyone, is that the earnings for companies are going to be less. They're going to be, they're not even going to reach the estimates that analysts had at the beginning of the year. Projections and everything the analysts dreamed about are out the window. I believe that there is going to be a pause in production by many companies. Even Stellantis has, all of the company. It makes sense because you just can't go and produce anymore because your products or your parts you need for your products are going to be tariffs so high. You have to figure out a lot of things. There's going to be a pause in production. Production is going to go down by many companies, and that will lead to lower earnings, lower sales, uncertainty. Consumers are not going to want to spend so much. Prices are going to go up. So none of this, guys, none of this will help at all. In the end, anything. The sooner we get over this tariff trade war and it settles, and countries, come to a conclusion between each other, good. The longer it drags, the worse for all of us. But if it drags, at least we know some things that can do well in the markets while the markets are getting really bad, right? Let me know in the comment section below what you think. Please consider hitting the subscribe button. If you want to join my Patreon/Discord, the link is in the description of the video, at the top of the description, and I wish you all the best. Take care.